What is that? Kyllinga. What the hell is Kyllinga? Well, let's find out. Kyllinga is going to be real similar to Nutsedge. In fact, they both come from the same family, but they're not totally the same. Kyllinga is still a sedge, which means it's not technically a grass. Obviously, none of us want it in our lawn, so Kyllinga is definitely going to be a weed, just like Nutsedge is to all of us. Here's how you can tell Kyllinga from Nutsedge. Kyllinga is going to be shorter than Nutsedge, and it's going to create a mat or a bed and spread out a lot more laterally than Nutsedge. Nutsedge is going to be a lot taller, it's going to grow upright and grow a lot faster, which is going to make it stand out a lot more from the turf grass due to the height. Kyllinga is going to blend in a lot easier with the rest of your turf grass and make it a little harder to pick out, except for a few obvious details, which we'll talk about in a second. Both Kyllinga and Nutsedge are going to have that triangular shaped stem, which you can feel if you roll the stem between your fingers. Kyllinga leaves are going to be more like grass, and they're going to be shinier than Nutsedge. Kyllinga seed heads are going to be round or an oval shaped, and they're going to be much more green, almost look like a little green fuzzy little egg. Nutsedge seed heads are going to be yellow or purple, and they're going to have spiky seed heads. Kyllinga is going to spread by using rhizomes, which are essentially just underground stems, where Nutsedge is going to spread by multiplying the number of tubers. Both are going to thrive in wet soil in places that get full sun. So if you want to work on any drainage issues, any place you have water that pools or gets an excessive amount of water and also sits in full sun. Now, why do we want to kill Kyllinga or Nutsedge if it's in our yard? Well, it's going to compete with your turf grass for space, water, nutrients, all of that. Kyllinga also tolerates mowing really well, and so it's going to continue to spread even if you maintain a well-cut lawn. Kyllinga is also not going to be affected by many herbicides, so you're going to have to find an herbicide that specifically is made to treat Kyllinga or Nutsedge if you have that. Now, how do you control Kyllinga? One of the best things you can do is improve the drainage of your yard. Since Kyllinga thrives in wet soil, you want to make sure you aerate, you dethatch and or scarify, and then you level your lawn to help improve drainage as much as possible. You also want to avoid overwatering. If you need to, even cut back your watering a little bit when you've got a whole lot of Kyllinga that's starting to spread. Zoysia is really drought resistant. It only needs approximately 1 inch of water per week counting rainfall, so you can probably dial back the watering just a little bit and your Zoysia won't suffer too bad. Obviously, you want to make sure you look for signs of heat stress in your grass. In Zoysia, that's going to be the browning of the blades. Blades start to curl up a little bit as well in the midday heat. One thing you can also do is maintain a thicker lawn. So a thicker lawn is going to outcompete the Kyllinga and the Nutsedge for nutrients, sunlight, and all of that. And eventually, hopefully that'll help contribute to limiting the amount of Kyllinga you have in your yard. If you have a grass type where you can lay down seed, consider overseeding every year. Most Zoysia isn't available in seed, so consider putting down plugs or sod where you've got bare spots, which will help thicken up your lawn. Now, differing from Nutsedge, you can pull Kyllinga by hand, but it's quite a pain, and you have to ensure you get the rhizomes all the way out of the ground. With Nutsedge, you have to get all those tubers out of the ground as well as the rhizomes. So Kyllinga is a little easier because you don't have those tubers to deal with, which can lay dormant for a long time in Nutsedge. In Kyllinga, you just have to get all the rhizomes out. It's pretty difficult. I highly recommend you treat it with an herbicide instead. Now, for different types of herbicides that we can use to treat Kyllinga, there's quite a few different examples and brand names out there that work and that are specifically designed to kill Kyllinga. Here's a couple of them. You can use Dismis or Ortho Nutsedge Killer. Those are going to be fast to work and they're very effective against Kyllinga. You can also use SedgeHammer or ProSedge. Those are going to be slower to work. They may take several weeks, but it's going to systematically go through and kill the entire weed. It's also really good if you've got good established patches that already have expanded quite a bit laterally. It's really going to work well on those. And then you can also use Tenacity. Tenacity can suppress Kyllinga and it's also turf safe, but you always want to make sure you read the label. Tenacity is not going to be safe for every type of grass. It's best for cool season grasses, not warm season turf like Zoysia. With any of these, you may need multiple applications. You'll do your first round of treatment, and then you might have to come back in 3 weeks or so and do a second round of treatment if it didn't completely take care of the problem. That's totally normal. You probably didn't do anything wrong. It's just hard to kill. And if you're using a liquid one of these herbicides, you're probably going to need to add a non-ionic surfactant to it. This is going to help the herbicide stick and absorb better. Normally you want to add this to any of the liquids, but always make sure you read the label specifically. If you've got the dry powder 13.5 gram package of SedgeHammer or any other dry powder one, it likely already has a non-ionic surfactant in it, just like this packet of SedgeHammer does. So in that case, you don't need to add any to that one since it's already in there. So the best time to treat Kyllinga is going to be the late spring to early summer, right when the Kyllinga is just starting to grow but not yet mature. Fall treatments can also be helpful because it may weaken the rhizomes before they go into dormancy and help prevent less of a problem next year. Now, for an annual treatment plan, a couple of things you can do is in the early spring, apply a pre-emergent herbicide right when the soil temperatures are about 55 degrees or so, and that's going to help you limit the amount of issues you have from Kyllinga or Nutsedge or any of those. Something like Spectacle Flow is going to be great for this. Now in the late spring, probably in the May to June region, you're going to want to use a post-emergent. This is going to be best when the soil temperatures are above 60 degrees and ideally 65 to 70 degrees is kind of the sweet spot. In the late spring, a good thing to use would be Dismis, SedgeHammer, Celsius WG. Any one of those are going to work really well. In the summer, you're basically just going to do repeat applications every 3 weeks or so as you see any of the Kyllinga pop up, and just ultimately try to kill it before it goes into dormancy as we start getting into the later fall. In the fall, this is going to be essentially your last effort to try to weaken any of the rhizomes before they go into dormancy. Probably going to apply one final application of SedgeHammer or Dismiss, something like that, to really try to suppress and take care of the Kyllinga before it starts to just go dormant over the winter and then come back with a vengeance in the spring if you don't take care of it. In the winter, there's no real chemical treatment you want to do. You just want to make sure you go ahead and address any drainage problems, compaction, irrigation, things like that. So this is where we're planning to aerate, scarify, dethatch, sand level, all of those things. Now today I'm going to be using one of these dry powder packets of SedgeHammer. It's about 13.5 grams. Remember, this already has the non-ionic surfactant in it, so we don't need to add any surfactant to it. I'm just going to mix it up with 1 gallon of water in a pump sprayer, and then we'll go ahead and start killing some Kyllinga. So let's go ahead and mix it up. Okay, so to mix this up, I've got a 2-gallon sprayer here that I got just from Lowe's or Home Depot, anywhere else, and I've got 1 gallon of water in it. I'm going to go ahead and mix that with one of these 13.5 gram dry powders of SedgeHammer. Remember, that doesn't require the surfactant, and then we'll be ready to go. I'm just going to leave this container full of SedgeHammer. That way, anytime I have a problem pop up, I can go ahead and come and grab this, use it to spray it, and hopefully kill it. And then if I need to reapply in a couple of weeks, I'll have this already mixed up, ready to go. Just obviously shake it up very well before you use it. Okay, I've already got the SedgeHammer out of the packet to mix it. I'm just going to open up this little packet, pour it right into the 1 gallon of water. Then I'm going to pump it and shake it vigorously, and then I'm ready to spray. Now that I've got it all in there, we're going to go ahead and just pump it up, just like you would any other sprayer. Get the pressure to build, and then we'll shake it up. Just go ahead and give it a nice little healthy dose right where you see the Kyllinga. Make sure we cover everything, and then we're just going to let it sit for a while. That's pretty much it. Go around spot spray. You don't want to treat the entire lawn unless you absolutely have to, just to avoid stressing out the turf grass. All right, so that's all I've got about how to treat Kyllinga. Stay tuned for updates. I'm going to take pictures every day so we can see the progress of the Kyllinga, hopefully dying. And then if I need to, I'll come back and do a repeat application in about 3 weeks or so. I'm probably going to end up using SedgeHammer if I need a second application, since my pump sprayer still has about a half a gallon left in it or so. So I'll just shake it up if I need to do that again, and then go around and spot spray it again, just like I did the first time. I'm going to wait about 3 weeks or so to see what effects have already taken place before I do that, though. Thanks. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe.